Welcome. For those of you who don't know me, I am John Anderson, Professor of English here at Quinebaug Valley Community College, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to the 14th Annual Julius Sokenu Poetry Awards Ceremony. I extend this welcome on behalf of the Sokenu Planning Committee, which includes a Professor of Spanish Elkin Aspitia-Luesa, who is here with us, Library Associate Danuve Hernandez, and Associate Professor of Engineering Jacob Spute. This is our second virtual ceremony and our 14th ceremony overall. It's always a wonderful evening, and I am going to turn it over to Elkin to introduce the evening.
So, good evening, everybody. I'm not muted, right? I welcome you to the, like John mentioned, the 14th annual Julius Sokenu Poetry Award ceremony. We've been doing this now for 14 years. The Julius Sokenu Poetry Awards has been an integral part of the spring events at QVCC, and we honor the work, the poetry job of our students, and students also at the Quinebaug Middle College, as well as QVCC students. A little bit, so welcome everybody. So a little bit about the history of the award for 14 years now, been running uninterrupted. Uh, Even with the pandemic last year, we were able or managed to hold the awards and the ceremony. We did it virtually, just like this time. The award ceremony was, the awards contest was organized for the first time in 2008. And Professor of History Nan Hurst, who is now retired, and reference and instruction librarian Amy Barlow, that at that time worked at QVCC, were the two people that conceived this poetry contest. And they named it after Julius Sokenu, who was a professor of English at QVCC and moved on to a different job. With the help, of course, of English professors, because it's a poetry contest, John Anderson. I came about a year later. I came about a year after the first contest, when the Spanish categories had been added to the contest. And we hold the award ceremony every year to honor those student poets that have competed in English and Spanish, and as best as and also their best work is submitted by uh, Quinebaug Middle College students in to the contest. So again, it is students from QVCC, students from the Middle College, and the two categories, the main categories are English and Spanish. Uh, the award ceremony until last year was held on ground. We actually had an actual ceremony, and we alternated between holding the award ceremony in Danielson and Willimantic. So one year we would hold the ceremony here in the town where I live in Willimantic, and the next year we would have it in the town where I work, which is Danielson. Um, and until last year again. Uh, in the past, we have many, and every single year we have a different guest poet. We have included people like Jim Daniels, Joseph Ruchak. Julius Sokenu was the invited guest poet for the 10th annual awards. Nancy Morejon, V. Penelope Palizon, Naomi Ayala, Marilyn Nelson, Martin Espada, Dick Allen, Patrick Rosal, Ken Comier, and Doug Anderson, and this year, Cornelius Eady. The categories for the contest are English and two Spanish categories. The Spanish for people who already speak Spanish, who are heritage speakers, and the category for Spanish in Spanish for those students who are learning Spanish, who are not heritage speakers. And Now I'm going to move on to give a little bit of thanks to those people who made this possible, because it's not John, Elkin, Jacob, and Denuve that make it possible for us to hold the contest and then have an award ceremony. It is very important to have the help of the library services, Melina Hines, and the Director of Institutional Advancement, Monique Wolainen, for the foundation. The principal of the middle college, David House and Sheldon Neal, the administrative assistant at the middle college, Taryn Novotny, and QMC teachers Karen Eves and Suzette Lefebvre. The business office is the one that handles how to provide the funds or how to distribute the funds. Alessandra Lomberg and Debbie Guntner work at the business office. The marketing team is extremely instrumental, because if not, we couldn't publicize in a way that it looks great and it allows the students to participate. Sue Bro, Jen Espeset, and Paige Carito are important in this effort. Professor of Chemistry John Lewis offers his students the opportunity to enter the contest with a poem that is based on science. I think that's very interesting. The bookstore manager, Mick Satsit, it's important for us because she is the one that obtains some of the physical prizes that the students are going to get when they receive their award. Advisor and Student Affairs Activities Coordinator Kevin Davis, it's in that another partner with us, and the Student Government Association. But even, I'm not going to say even more important, but very important are the people that judge the poems as they come in. For Spanish, Maria Garcia Alvarez is one of the judges for Spanish poems. Gloria Rivera and Jacob Spute, who is a multi-talented person. And so not only does Jacob, it's he making this award ceremony possible to be live streamed, but he also is very fluent in Espanol. In English, we have people that judge: a professor of English, Scott DeShong, professor of art, Jessica Portionek, and a retired professor of art, Mark Santier. Uh, but we also need the support of the people above us, the people who run the college, the interim chief executive officer Rose Ellis, the dean of academic affairs Joe Cullen, and the administrative cabinet for their support. Without them, this wouldn't be possible. We wouldn't be able to hold the contest and the awards. John?
Yeah, thank you, Elkin, for that great background in history and introduction. I want to give a shout out to our new committee members, Denuve and Jacob. Jacob is making this possible with his technology wizardry, and Denuve has been so involved with everything, organizing the contest and helping to plan this evening. So thanks for jumping in. Elkin and I made it sound really good in theory. So if you talk to them, they'll probably tell you not to buy a used car from us or something like that.
Oh, absolutely.
But they've just been terrific. So yeah, I'm going to start with the prizes, which is what we're here for. I'm going to begin with the Quinebaug Middle College category, and I want to note that in the Quinebaug Middle College category, the prizes are funded by EastCon Quinebaug Middle College. The funds for the prizes, for all the other prizes, the Spanish prizes and the college English prizes, are come from the foundation, and they come from our fund at the foundation. And so, if anyone is moved to donate to that fund, you'll be able to do so. In addition to the cash prizes, each student is receiving a copy of 706 Union Avenue, the Memphis Sessions, by the Cornelius Eady Trio. This is a chapbook published by the Fine Literary Press, Cattywampus Press, and it comes with a free digital download of the Cornelius Eady Trio recording at Sun Studios, the legendary Sun Studios. So, prizes at the Quinebaug Middle College. I'm going to begin with third place goes to Carissa Frantz for her poem, The Warrior.
Do you want me to like read out loud my poem?
Yes, if you would, or if you would rather the recording played. I think I had you down for reading.
Yeah, I'm gonna read it, but okay.
Go for it.
Okay, sorry. Oh gosh.
That's okay.
The warrior. The warrior wakes in the fields full of azure flowers, taking in the sunlight, becoming whole. Her soul wanders through time, chirping birds put her body at ease. Her delicate fingers hold on to the stem of a flower. Stillness devours her thoughts. Trees surround her, nowhere to go. Falling into soil, fearful of the unknown. Looking into the crystal clear water, there she sees herself. Chestnut brown hair, slightly curling at the ends. Luminous, dark, honey eyes glare into the unfathomable, crystal clear water. Dropping into the ocean, stuck, sinking in sand, she still lives in the moment. Dreams like every other human does. Time is still. It ticks every hour, minute, second, every inhale and exhale. The light of day calls out to the birds. The dark of day calls out to the living of the night. Flowers blooming, bees buzzing, time going. She awakes in a field full of azure flowers. That's it.
Beautifully read, Carissa. Thank you very much. Congratulations. Second place in the Quinebaug Middle College category goes to Deondre Brown for his poem BLWYNU, Black Lives, Wow, You'll Never Understand.
Hello everyone, it's Deondre Brown here, and I'm here to read you guys my poem. My poem is called BLWYNU, and that stands for Black Lives, Wow, You'll Never Understand. The poem I'm writing was inspired by everything that was going on in the world, sort of, and also American literature assignment I had to do, and a Pinterest tweet I had seen. So here we go. Why so persistent and selfish? No one said your lives don't matter. We didn't say only Black lives matter. You're right, all lives do matter. Although it may be, your skin and opinions never put you in harm's way. Loss of breath, close to death, our people, Black people, are being hurt for the simple things as the pigment of our skin and opinions that we were born with. You make it seem as if your lives were not supported throughout history. You make it seem as if you didn't thrive. Don't think we forgot when you looked at us and just seen some dirt that the boot dragged in. So respectfully, don't come over here saying all lives matter when you'll never understand that lives won't matter until Black lives matter. That's my poem, BLWYNU, Black Lives While You Never Understand. And thank you, everyone. Thanks again for allowing me to present my poem to you guys. And I hope everybody has a nice evening, afternoon, whatever time it is. Thank you.
Terrific poems. These are so powerful. Wonderfully done. Thank you, Deondre.
No problem.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And first place.
Excellent job.
Yes, excellent. First place in the Quinebaug Middle College category goes to Aniya Carvajal-Morton for her poem, My Tomorrow.
Hi, my name's Aniya, and I wrote the poem, My Tomorrow. My tomorrow. Help me reach my tomorrow. He's over the hill, above the line, beyond the sun. Help me reach my tomorrow. He's beautiful just like the cotton candy skies, as warm as the summer nights, bubbly like the bubbles in my bath, yet dark like the midnight air. Thank you.
Thank you,
Very
Aniya.
good.
Terrific poem.
Thank you.
Oh, I think I'm up.
You are up, Elkin.
All right.
Up again.
I think he put my face there when I wasn't ready. Thank you, Jacob.
We weren't ready either.
Okay, so I'm listening to two sounds. One is delayed after the other. So here I go. So the first category that I'm going to honor tonight, or we're going to honor tonight, is the Spanish non-heritage speaker categories. So for second place, we have the poem by Deana Gonzalez, Romeo and Julieta. Romeo and Julieta.
You want me to read? I thought I wasn't having the video played.
So I think
Romeo and Juliet by Deana Gonzalez. Villano dijo villano caliente, derritirías en un molde de un corazón sangre cayendo de usted y yo, ahogándome en la dulce nada que existe en ti. Morimos juntos porque nos amamos unos a otros y no pudo venir sentimentamente.
very good. Excellent job. Very nice. Thank you, Deana. Yeah, very good. Very nice.
You're
So
welcome.
then, yeah, good job. So for first prize for the non-heritage speakers, the prize goes to Rachel Vertefeuille for her Spanish. Do I have the name? I have it in here. Pasado por Alto. Rachel.
La persona que más admiro no es a quien piensa. Se ríen, lloran y se tiran pidos y apestan, y siempre tienen un guiño. Tienen la sonrisa más grande cuando hablo dime día, y siempre están ahí para darme consejos cuando no sé qué decir. Esta persona puede ser pasada por alto, y se ríe de él, incluso despreciada, pero no siempre me pone el sombrero recto cuando paso por la tormenta. Cuando me siento sola y triste y no sé qué hacer, ellos están ahí para mostrarme que estoy bien y que no pasa nada. Me dan palmaditas y la espalda y me despierten una vez más. Siempre supe que la harían, pero cuando fallo e incluso salir bajo fianza, están ahí para demostrarme que todavía soy bueno. Esta persona se despierta al ser tan cansado como puede estar, pero no se desploma cuando el deber lo llama y continúa interminablemente. Cuando llegan a casa tan agotados del trabajo, están aún más cansados, como se esperaba, pero cuando hablo, están ahí para escucharme y ayudarme y en la cama, haga todo y se duermen hasta cierto punto y me despertarán. Esta persona que tiene una tarea que muchos hombres rechazan, un trabajo tan feroz pero suave que casi parece que te ahogas. Esta persona te he admirado, es mi padre y mi amigo, un hombre tan grande que será mi padre hasta el final. Entonces, si ve al hombre que tiene rejas grises en la barba, recuerde a sus 9 hijos y las vidas que llegó a construir.
Excelente trabajo. Muy bien. Excellent. So that is the end of the awards for the non-heritage speaker Spanish category. And now we go with the heritage speakers Spanish category. We have 2 awardees. The second place award goes to Rosa Ramos for the poem Tú eres mi color.
Hi, my name is Rosa Ramos, and I'll be reading my poem to Eres mi color. Contigo mis días son amarillos. Amarillo como la luz de sol en la mañana, amarillo como el calor de nuestra casa. Pero sin ti, mi vida es gris. Gris como la mancha en mi camisa nueva, gris como el humo en la casa de un niño. Es difícil estar sin ti, pero puedo encontrar algo bueno en el gris. Gris como los zapatos de nuestros hijos. Piensa en lo bueno, y lo malo no es tan difícil, porque hay más cosas positivas que malas. Mi amor por ti me dice que lo busque.
Muy bien. Excelente trabajo. Otra vez. The next category that the next person is the first prize for the Heritage Speaker category in Spanish. That goes to Janet Pérez for her poem, Poema del Sentimiento.
Hola, buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Janet Pérez y hoy les voy a compartir un poema que he escrito relacionado a la ciencia química. Espero que les guste. El título del poema se llama Poema del Sentimiento. El corazón fluye de hemoglobina y oxígeno, y sin ti se fluyera como la reacción de síntesis en una flor. Cuando siento tu mirada, se siente como la combustión entre el agua y el aceite. Se siente como fuego. Cuando siento tu respirar, se siente como el viento peleando contra la marea. Se siente explosivo. El amor es pura química. T para teluro. Am para americio. Y O para oxígeno. ¿Qué significa? Te amo. Eres raro de reemplazar lo que significas para mí. Te esperaré 52 años, 95 días y 8 horas. Bueno, eso concluye mi poema. Espero que les haya gustado. Muchas gracias.
Muy bien, excelente trabajo, Janet. Muchas gracias, thank you a Janet, a Rosa, a Rachel y a Deana. Now I'll pass it on to you, John.
I'll take the baton. Thank you. Thank you, Elkin. Thank you, student poet. The readings are just wonderful. I will stop to say now. I was saying before to some of the poets who had gathered before the ceremony started that we spend a lot of time with the poems, and Danuve and Jacob and Elkin and I do not judge, but we do read the poems, and the judges spent a lot of time with the poems, sometimes reading them aloud, making tough decisions. But then when we started to get the videos and the backup videos and listening to the poems, what had already really impressed us at a whole other level. Poetry is at the root an oral tradition, and those skills don't always go together, reading poems or saying poems, performing poems, and writing poems, but everything just moved us so much.
Absolutely. Agree with that. 100%, John.
Excellent. It's great when Elkin and I agree 100%. We're glad that you all could be here.
We are. We've been looking forward to this date since last year, right? When we start planning.
We have. Yeah, it's really a highlight of the year for us.
It is.
So I'm going to turn to the QVCC English category, and we're going to begin with an honorable mention that goes to Beck Fatzinger for his poem Desert Homes and Coyote Bones.
Thank you. All right. Desert Homes and Coyote Bones, afternoon dreams and orange gleam, warming fragrance of lemon trees, brisk bite to morning sands, wheels smack cracked cement, outside smells of foreign foods, and scenes of fierce skies bleed red, piercing like polluted skies and scream of cicadas. Hot nights in short houses, yellow lit and canvas streaked. Black and green covers the walls surrounding the misplaced fridge. Sleepless heat makes endless time, vast space of the land, and the deep breaths of the desert fill my lungs, dust and sweat as I begin to drown in the quietness of a home left behind.
Right.
Another go Zoe Marshall of hello all. Things are freezing. Yeah, sorry. I in front of me, so or am I back?
All right, sorry folks, we're having a little technical difficulties. Don't want to throw the web conferencing tool under the bus, but I kind of do. So this is Jacob Spute talking. We're trying to get John Anderson back talking again. In the meantime, I can always just play
Jacob,
the next
do you want me
winner.
to
So
announce
the yeah, let me just do that.
The winner? Is my connection better?
Yeah, I can hear you, Elkin.
Okay. So why don't I do the next one and see if that works? Okay. All right. So oh, should I put my video? No, or I'll slow things down if I do that. We'll see. So for honorable mention at QVCC, Zoe Marshall wrote the poem "The Love of a Lethal Combination."
Good afternoon. My name is Zoe Marshall, and tonight I will be reading my poem that I submitted called The Love of a Lethal Combination. Water so pure and clear, the giver of life but not unfeared. It flows and twists, winds and bends, the river her body has no end. Flora and fauna dance in the shallows, their tones jovial and their moods mellow. The water she rises, touching the stars and returning, till she sees a sight her curiosity was burning. Through a crack unpenetrated by her gaze a hole, she slips inside to join a lonely soul. Her smile shimmers, casting light on the wall. It pierces his heart like an awl. He smiles back, all golden glimmering, and the light on the walls dance. She ponders a moment, now what do I call him? And before she could ask, he replies, cesium. And just like that, the dam burst forwards, controlled by speed like a ball in billiards. Just one touch, she wasn't asking for much, and the cave came tumbling down. The reaction was instant, the sparks flew, and the cave crumbled and blew. Their love was toxic, dangerous, and explosive, yet she could not stop, she remained erosive, digging and digging at the caves and cracks, till she could find him again, follow his tracks. She craved the thing that she couldn't have, it was a must, that dangerous, lethal lust. Have a good night.
Great job. Great job. So I think John is trying to get back into the meeting, but I will continue playing second fiddle until he shows up. All right. So for oh, I should put my face a little bit in there. For third prize at QVCC English category, we have Lucia Morace, Rain in Holland. I hope I pronounced your name correctly, Lucia, your last name.
Hello. Hi. So my poem, Rain in Holland, was actually a response to Emily Kingsley's poem, Welcome to Holland. So, they say that Holland is beautiful too, and make me feel as though I'm the one looking through dark glasses at a sunlit land that I have yet to appreciate, cursing this paradise for not being the Italy that I had dreamed. As I sit another night with my back up against a white brick wall, staring at her red hair, glistening in the halogen lights, my body aching in ways that I forgot could hurt since my days long forgotten of youthful all-nighters. My stomach in knots, bubbling and bloated from cafeteria chips after the kitchen has closed because admission took far too long. My eyes heavy and puffy because the coffee isn't strong enough to hide the exhaustion from fearfully awaiting a disposition that I always knew was around the corner. My consciousness torn between the discoveries and disappointments, my children on 2 continents, missing adventures in Italy while I waited out behind a locked door in Holland, Rembrandts and all. The guilt of spending all my time here when the others are there, or my time there while one I love is here, alone. Which is worse? Which part of me should I leave behind tonight? Fighting with everything I have just to keep going. Ask for another Jell-O, an update on the flight times, a weather report. It's all I can do not to unravel in the madness. Sitting in a room with no windows, no strings or laces or cords. Judged for being here, judged for staying, judged for leaving. There is no winning in Holland, no awards, only fear. Fear for the process, fear for the future, of what we might have, of what we surely have lost. Uncertainty breaking down the walls of our relationships, taping them back together with glue sticks, and banking on a dry tomorrow. So much fear. I just pray that my hope is stronger in the end, or that my faith can withstand the rain that pours down now outside these walls into puddles that we cannot yet see coming, and that faith is strong enough to hold your head above the water line while you stand on my shoulders as I gasp for air.
Very nice job. Excellent job.
For the technical difficulties.
So, John, how are you doing?
I'm okay. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I think everybody else can hear you, right?
Well, I think so. Do you want me to introduce the second place
Yes,
winner?
sir. I was just playing backup.
You did a great job. I think. I don't really know.
You don't know what happened.
They're so funny.
Who, John and I funny? No.
In the English category. Moving on to second place in the English category. Poem Being Mixed Race.
So second place in the English category is India McDermott Ariola for her poem Being Mixed Race.
Hello, my name is India McDermott Ariola, and this is Being Mixed Race. Printed in bold letters on the classroom's freshly cleaned whiteboard today is the glaring headline, Marginalization, a topic I should know a lot about, given what my ancestors from every branch of my vast family tree have gone through. But my voice remains silent, shy and timid, afraid to say the wrong thing, drowned out by people who wear their skin as a badge of courage rather than a faded scar. I only wish I could have the pride they have, getting instant recognition for who they are, wherever they are, instead of having the part of myself that's supposed to give me a sense of inner pride snatched away from me constantly, over and over again. With the comment from my fellow Latina, "You don't look Mexican," or the white boy in second grade who refused to sit next to me because he didn't like Indians, or my Trump-supporting neighbor who was always convinced that I was as white as a button-up he would wear to the rallies. With these comments being thrown at me from all different directions, who am I supposed to believe? My own voice getting torn apart by people who tell me you are too white to be Mexican, too dark to be white, too many things to be nothing. I am Mexican. I am Native American. I am Polish. I am Irish. Races who have all been marginalized, used as cattle throughout history, at one point or another. So, refocusing my thoughts, I turn my attention to the bold word, marginalized, at the front of the classroom. Timid, I raise a quivering hand. It is my turn to finally speak.
Thank you, India. Another wonderful poem. Another
Great poem.
wonderful reading. Strong, very
Yeah.
strong work tonight. The first place winner in the QVCC English category goes to Taylor Lynn Copeland for her poem Trustum Pond in February.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much. This is my poem, Trustum Pond in February. I had been coming to this pond my entire life, yet this was a route I had never traveled, a snowy trail narrowing down a tree-lined peninsula, the frozen pond nestled close on either side. Dry marsh grasses waved from the shores, yellow and warm against the moody sky, and as we walked on, the sound of the sea in the distance became audible, that rhythmic distant roar of centuries thrumming in my chest. Just off the beaten path, a grove of fairy tale trees twisted crookedly towards the gray-blue clouds, mesmerizing in their eccentricity. I stood beneath and looked across the pond, its snowbrush surface dotted with the winding tracks of animals. The barrier island of the opposite shore seemed such a little thing against the pounding surf beyond. All the while winter hung above us, icy air charged with the thunder of the ocean, filling the quietude with the powerful pulse of the world. Thank you.
Wow, fantástico. Fantastic, fantastic. Muy bien.
Thank you, Taylor
Excellent,
Lynn.
excellent, Taylor.
Thank you to all. Absolutely terrific poetry tonight. Thank you, student poets. We are here to honor you. You are the focus and the highlight of the year. We do have an honored guest, and we're going to
So, John,
turn to the Cornelius Eady.
can I ask to see if Jacob, can you show all the winners on the screen in the YouTube?
Yes, that's a good idea.
And can you guys all turn your cameras for a second so that we can honor you?
Yes.
There we go. I like that. There we go. It's coming now on the YouTube channel. So John, Jacob, Danuve, and I, as the committee, would like to really thank you for your work. Keep it up. I'm not technically a poet at all, but I enjoy it terribly. And I've been working with John. Danuve, I think, said that we sound funny sometimes when we banter back and forth. I've been hanging around with John for too long. And he and I kind of play off of each other. That's why he wants me to be part of this, and I want him to be part of this. But we do this because you, the poets, are the ones who make it happen. Without you, we wouldn't be able to have this event for now 14 years. So thank you very much. I'm going to applaud. We're going to applaud your job. And again, enter the poetry contest again next year. You know, we have people that repeat and they win. And even if they don't win, it's not sometimes the winning, but the satisfaction of doing it. And I think that that's what you get out of this. I hope you get this out of this. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Elkin, for slowing us down and for for letting us take in this moment. It's so important, and I want to note too that our gratitude is in part extended with the knowledge of how brave it is to put one's work out there. I mean, even an impersonal piece of writing shared with an audience is sort of making you vulnerable because it's your thoughts and there it is. But to put these wonderful intimate, engaged poems out there for us, and then to share them is brave and also and is also very generous. So
yep,
so we
correct.
are very
I agree
appreciative
with
of
that
your
too.
work.
100%, John. So thank you again. All right.
So I will turn to introduce the Cornelius Eady Trio. Every year except for last year, we do have an honored guest, and last year it was supposed to be the Cornelius Eady Trio, and here they are. They made it with us virtually tonight. last year, Elkin and I, we weren't sure enough of ourselves yet to try to include a guest. We just wanted to make sure that we could get the student poets in and make it through the evening. It was a great night. Some of you were there last year. But we always look for an honored guest who has achieved in the art, has not only won recognition, but has truly achieved mastery in poetry, but also someone who knows that they're here to help honor the students. And we don't, prima donnas need not apply. And we certainly, we're continuing that tradition this year. Cornelius and Charlie Rao and Lisa Liu, the Cornelius Eady Trio, were with a group of QVCC students on Tuesday for an hour, and just were so attentive and talked with them about art, about poetry, about life. And it was really wonderful, and we're really happy to have them here tonight. And Cornelius and Charlie are with us in person. So a little bit of background: I've known Cornelius Eady's work for a long time. He's a Pulitzer Prize nominated poet. His work has been featured in numerous venues: The New Yorker, Poetry, Best American Poetry, Harper's, and in books. The Brutal Imagination was a finalist for the National Book Award. Hard-Headed Weather, New and Selected Poems, is a terrific book that my creative writing students read this year. He's also the founder of QVCC, an organization that supports and nurtures Black poetry in the United States. And they've been around for a couple of decades now, and they've changed the landscape of literature and culture in the U.S. And so Cornelius gives in many ways. I only a couple of years ago did I become aware of the Cornelius Eady Trio, which includes Cornelius, obviously, Lisa Liu on guitar, and Charlie Rao on guitar. And to quote a little bit here, they set Eady's poems, quote, to song with the blues in the style of folk and Americana music. Guitarist Charlie Rao and Lisa Liu create layered and graceful arrangements to bolster Eady's adept craftsmanship as a songwriter, lyricist, and poet. Charlie and Lisa are both highly accomplished guitarists, and styles range from blues, folk to funk, to gypsy jazz, which actually I've just been recently introduced to, and I'm going to find out a lot more about, to experimental. The trio has been featured in many venues, including the Smithsonian National Portrait Gallery, the Sunken Garden Poetry Festival at the Hillstead Museum, and a couple of years ago at the Julia de Burgos Park in Willimantic. Charlie Rao and Cornelius Eady are here with us, and I'm going to turn it over to Cornelius. Welcome.
Okay. I'm not moving. Oh, there I am. Okay. I've seen this picture, this other picture of me someplace. I don't know what that's from. But I really don't. But thank you for inviting us to be. We're so happy and honored to be part of this event. This is really so important to be able to encourage and generate new work out into the world. You guys are the future. You people are the future, and you have to not only seize the future, you have to write your future. You have to imagine your future. So I think events like this hopefully empower you and galvanize you to keep going and keep at it. So since I've heard a part of the theme tonight was gratitude, I thought I'd start by reading a poem called Gratitude. And it was written when I was at a really low point in my life as a writer. I had been the only Black writer student in a white MFA program, and was dealing with that. Before I dropped out, or maybe after I dropped out, my way of trying to respond to that, or to protect myself, or to maybe even yell back at feeling that I was being diminished. It's a long story, but the poem basically touches upon that. It was a way of self-defense, I guess. So this is a poem called Gratitude. I wrote it when I was 36 years old. Gratitude. I'm here to tell you an old story. This appears to be my work. I live in the world, walk the streets of New York, this dear city. I want to tell you, I'm 36 years old. I have lived in and against my blood. I want to tell you, I am grateful because, after all, I am a Black American poet. I'm 36, and no one has to tell me about luck. I mean, after a reading, someone asked me once, if you weren't doing this, what, if anything, would you be doing? And I didn't say what we both understood. I'm a Black American male. I own this particular story on this particular street at this particular moment. This appears to be my work. I'm 36 years old, and all I have to do is repeat what I notice over and over. All I have to do is remember. And to the famous poet who thinks literature holds no small musics, love. And to the publishers who believe in their marrow there's no profit on the fringes, love. And to those who need the promise of wind, the sound of branches stirring beneath the line, here's another environment poised to open. Everyone reminds me what an amazing odyssey I'm undertaking, as well they should. After all, I'm a Black American poet, and my greatest weakness is an inability to sustain rage. Who knows what'll happen next? This appears to be one for the books, if you train your ears for what's unstated beneath the congratulations. That silence is my story, the pure celebration and shock of my face, defying its gravity, so to speak. I claim this tiny glee not just for myself, but for my parents, who shook their heads. I'm older now than my father was when he had me, which is no big deal, except I have personal knowledge of the wind that tilts the head back. And I claim this loose seed in the air glee on behalf of the social studies teacher I had in the 10th grade, a real bastard who took me aside after class the afternoon he heard I was leaving for a private school just to let me know he expected me to drown out there, that I held the knowledge of the drowned man, the regret of ruined flesh in my eyes. This was fair enough, except I believe I've been teaching far longer now than he had that day, and I know the blessing of a narrow escape. And I claim this rooster pull down morning glee on behalf of anyone who saw me coming and said yes, even when I was loud, cocky, insecure, even when all they could have seen was the promise of a germ, even when it meant yielding ground. I am a bit older than they were when I walked into that room or class or party, and I understand the value of the unstated push. A lucky man gets to sing his name. I have survived long enough to tell a bit of an old story. And to those who defend poetry against all foreign tongues, love. And to those who believe a dropped clause signifies encroachment, love. And to the bullies who need the musty air of the clubhouse all to themselves, I am a brick in a house that is being built around your house. I'm 36 years old, a Black American poet. Nearly all the things that weren't supposed to occur has happened anyway, and I have a natural inability to sustain rage, despite the evidence. I have proof and a job that comes as simple to me as breathing. Thank you. So that was survival. I'm going to read a poem about my mother. And this is about family. It's another theme that runs through my work. This is the true story that my mother told me when I got curious and asked her how did she and my father meet. Both my family sides of my family come from Florida. My mother's side comes from Gainesville. My father's side comes from Tampa, but they met in Rochester, New York, upstate New York. And they were part of what they call the Black migration, people that came from the South to the East. And because they knew there were better jobs, which they were, they knew they were better. There was housing that they'd be able to afford, which they did. And that's where they met, even though they both came from the same state. And the story I'm about to read to you is the story she told me when I asked her. And when you're writing, one of the secrets that people don't tell you about writing, because they want to emphasize the skill and the craft and how you want to do it to make it sing, this kind of stuff. But one of the secrets people never talk about in the workshop is just pure dumb luck. And this was one of those poems that was pure dumb luck. When simply, for some reason, the poetry gods gave me a topic, and I knew it. I knew it when I was listening to my mother that I was going to turn this into a poem that was just was tailor made. All I had to do was go home, write it down. I had a poem. The way she was saying that, telling me this, the way she was telling it to me. So that's what I did. I got home and wrote the poem down, and poem got published in a book. And a little afterwards, I asked her again, "How did you meet? How did you and Daddy meet?" And she told me a totally different story. It was a total lie. so I was a little upset when at first, but then I started to realize that maybe she was trying to tell me in her own way that everything in her life wasn't fodder for my art. So maybe she needed a little privacy there. But this is the story I'm stuck with. I'm a fool to love you. Some folks will tell you the blues is a woman, some type of supernatural creature. My mother would tell you, if she could, about her life with my father, a strange, sometimes cruel gentleman. She would tell you about the choices a young black woman faces. It's falling in with some man, a deal with the devil, in blue terms, the tongue we use when we don't want nuance to get in the way, when we need to talk straight. My mother chooses my father after choosing a man who was, as we sing it, of no account. This man made my father look good. That's how bad it was. He made my father seem like an island in the middle of a stormy sea. He made my father look like a rock. And it's the blues, the moment you realize you exist in a stacked deck. You look in a mirror at your young face, the face my sister carries, and you know it's the only leverage you got. Does this create a hurt that whispers, how you gonna do? Is the blues the moment you shrug your shoulders and agree a girl without money is nothing, dust to be pushed about by any old breeze? Compared to this, my father seems, briefly, to be a fire escape. This is the way the blues works its sorry wonders. makes trouble look like a featherbed, makes the wrong man's kisses a healing. Thank you. I'm going to read something a little recent, because poetry also, I think, has the duty to get down what's happening around us when it's happening around us. And this is what I was, and I'm sure everyone was feeling when the verdict came down for Derek Chauvin, that horrible officer who suffocated, murdered George Floyd on camera. We were that moment when we were waiting for the verdict to come down, and this poem is called "Before the Verdict." Before the verdict, the wind is coming, mean, to pull up the tax that hold things down. The wind is coming, east, west, don't care, doesn't matter. A beat down wolf that knocks then batters the fancy door to toothpicks. That's what they say is coming. He's on the road, a pissed drifter, haggard, moody, on the way. Needle rain, jilted howl. Maybe this is a cell opening up, a broom you never dreamt would sweep your way. Maybe this is justice, a thunderhead now tilted towards the room you shiver in. Perhaps these are ghoul clouds, breath stolen, the damp of the earth that swallowed them. Too young, too late, stunted, stopped, shocked. Lightning approaches, a dread fist. 12 strikes in the same spot. Yeah, hold on. I lost you. Hold on. And I'm going to read one more poem, and then we're going to go to music. And this is a poem about a jazz singer named Billie Holiday. Now, there have been a movie about her that almost won an Academy Award for the actress who portrayed her. Billie Holiday is embraced by us because not only because she was an incredible singer and interpreter of song, but also because she had such a rough life that still mirrors the lives that we go through. Um, as the legend goes, and there's always jazz. You can always love. I love jazz lessons because you never be 100% sure they're true, but they're good stories. But this part of it is, I think, is true. Billie Holiday died at Metropolitan Hospital, which was then Metropolitan Hospital in Manhattan, and she'd been hounded to death. If you watch the movie, you'll get an idea why she was hounded. It's practically because she refused to stop singing a song called "Strange Fruit," was an anti-lynching song. She didn't write it, but she personified it. She really, sung it like nobody else sings that song. And J. Edgar Hoover in the FBI was pissed off by her singing it. It irritated them that people maybe were listening to it and maybe be moving people to stop lynching people. But they harassed her. They harassed her by making sure that she couldn't have a cabaret license, meaning that she could not perform she could not perform in New York City. So her livelihood was really cut down. She was also an addict. And the legend goes that she came into Metropolitan Hospital terminal, but with money strapped to her thigh to pay her junkie. The hospital saw it. They called the cops. The cops show up, and they handcuffed her to her deathbed. She dies handcuffed to her deathbed. It's an awful story, but there's a colleague of mine at Stony Brook, Roger Rosenblatt, told me this story. That's maybe a sidebar to this. Is that his father, Rosenblatt's father, was a doctor at Metropolitan Hospital, and he was there the day Billie Holiday was wheeled in. And he saw Billie was in pain, and to ease her suffering, he gave her some drugs, morphine probably. So you can either believe that it's a junkie, or it's Roger Rosenthal's dad. But the story ends the same way. She dies handcuffed to her bed. And this is the poem that comes from that. Billie Holiday, handcuffed to her deathbed. Maybe these cops think if they can crush her soul, it will not fly. Or if there is a pearly gate, the cuffs will tip the angels. This is a low-class gal, even when she sings. Heaven as a suburb convent. Heaven as a Greyhound's Mississippi backseat. Heaven where no one drinks after a black lip sips the cup. Billie dozes, half free. And when she wakes, there's a bracelet, her wrists married to the law, to the bed, to the man that whispers, I'll never let you go. Salty gal, with your cigarette-ruined voice, with your screw-you ways. Don't rise too quick. Don't rise so easy. Don't rise without heartbreak. Don't rise. And you know what? That's such a depressing poem. I'm not going to end that way. Before we get to the music, I'm going to end with something else. I want to end with a poem about my father. And this is another true story. That's something he told me. This is the only mention that he ever gave me about my grandfather on my father's side. My father, like I said, grew up around the Tampa area in Florida. King Snake. Sometimes my father's young life would resemble something you'd hear in a Muddy Waters song. Like the time he found out that the local hospitals would pay good money for rattlesnakes in order to make anti-venom. Soon he had a pen full, and I want to imagine my non-body, his yet-to-be, whispering, careful, in his ear as he seeks out his dangerous two bits. But he's young and reckless, and I know how he gets when he sees a way to grab a buck. I suppose his name gets around West Florida because one day a white man drives up to the house and makes a better offer. $1 a snake. Of course he takes it. But when the white man who was only paying my father 50 cents shows up, he doesn't take, of course he takes it, but when the white man who was only paying my father 50 cents shows up, he doesn't take kindly to the new arrangement. He cusses my daddy out and threatens to return with the law. This is a story my father thinks is no big deal. Really, just the daily stuff he had to do to live down there. And I see he's wondering why I want to make something of it. But when the sheriff comes back, hauling with him the sheriff, he gives me a description of my grandfather, a black man with a long, handlebar mustache who owns his land and holds a certain reputation. When angered, we both stammer. Unlike me, no one cares to get him to that point. This is proven by the way my father says the sheriff decides to handle the situation. When the car pulls up, my grandfather stands in the front door. Tall, stout, with Indian blood? No matter. He's a quiet black man on his own land in the South in the late 20s or early 30s holding a shotgun. Holding a shotgun and saying nothing else. My father could never tell me what my grandfather did to earn this moment, but crazy, selfish, or fearful things which came before, which would lead the sheriff to side against the wounded pride of a light southern man. And I want to yell as wind blowing dust across the front yard. Watch your step into their ears. But they both know more than I do, that nothing's going to happen, that they're all going to let the poor, silly man yell until his face turns red and he simply runs out of breath and insults. My daddy will never be able to tell me what it was about my grandfather that tells the sheriff this just ain't worth the dance, or what it is in my sister that recalls my granddad to the relatives who knew him. When my daddy was a young boy, he played with rattlesnakes. Can't you just hear Muddy Waters and little Walter juking that out? So, baby, I sure know how to handle you.
Thank you. Wow. Great job.
Thank you. So I'm going to go on to the songs now, see if I can find them, what I did with them. Hold on. Let's try this. Here we go. Right. All right. So, this is 4 songs that Charlie and Lisa and I recorded. The first song, Sunshine, was a song I wrote down as part of a show BBC Radio 4 ran in March about the songs I wrote in lockdown during the pandemic. The producer wanted to end things on an upbeat note. We didn't have an upbeat song, and he asked me to write one. While we were a bit wary of happy songs, it turned out to be a pretty nice recording. And of course, it is good to have a song that's looking forward after this horrible year we just gone through. So that's Sunshine.
Me and my baby sitting in the rain, waiting on the sun to shine. Mr. Blues, go back to from where you came, waiting on the sun to shine. Wanna know how it feels in the catbird seats, waiting on the sun to shine. Drop me off with your ass and central needs, waiting on the sun to shine. Say, oh, hanging in the sky, waiting on the sun to shine. Sun starts shining, moon got too high, waiting on the sun to shine. Sick and tired, listening to the blues, waiting on the sun to shine. About to graduate to something new, waiting on the sun to shine. Yeah, me and my baby at the end of the world, waiting on the sun to shine. Dance over the cracks and give it a whirl, waiting on the sun to shine. Mr. Blues, you done had your fun, waiting on the sun to shine. Anybody like that will miss your son, waiting on the sun to shine.
Very good job. Nice job. Beautiful. I had to turn off my mic because I would, or my camera because I would be popping. I would be going like this.
Thank you. Thank you. It means a lot. So look. All right, second song. Where is it? Here we go. Second song is called Simone, and it's for Simone Manuel, a black woman swimmer who won gold at a recent Olympic. When I saw her win, I thought of all the stories I'd heard about black people in swimming when I was a kid. My big sister told me the reason black people didn't swim was because being brought over by ships during slavery days. And I also thought of what happened during Jim Crow, when a black person was caught in a white pool. If they even dipped a toe in the water, the pool would be emptied, drained, and then fumigated. Watching her rise out of the water seemed like more than just a victory for herself. Simone.
Oh, the passage was a cruel and heartless place. Like a love swallows up your face. For the names it choked and drowned at sea. For the cargoes robbed of the yet to be. There are cities that had a golden rule. Catch a Negro in the water. You had to drain the pool.
Thank you. The third song, The Dead Mother, is for Corinne Gaines, a Black mother who was shot after the police came to her house outside of Baltimore for a outstanding parking ticket. The situation escalated into a standoff, and she was shot dead by the police while she was holding her infant son, who was also shot but survived. The Dead Mother.
They shot me for a question while I held my child. Like a dog that you put down when she barks too wild. My black skin was resistant in a cop's man. They shot me for impatience while I held my kid. Like a monster from swamp, rising from the earth, surrounded, defiance. Look at what it my soul in gunpowder rising in the air. My assumptions and my boy lying wounded there. My black skin was poisoned. Was he losing hair? Oh, people, good people, see what they have done. Smashed my home and took my breath and stole me from my son. Took my name, misspelled it as the crazy one. Bring a sharp axe to the mountain, tear that mountain down. Scream my name out like a siren through every street in town. Don't bury me, plant my story like a seed in the ground.
Thank you.
Wow, fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you.
I just keep moving back and forth like this. I don't want people to see that too much.
Okay. The last song is called Misery, And it is actually the last song I wrote before leaving a teaching job at the University of Missouri, Columbia. Almost like 5 years ago. Misery is one of a number of nicknames for the state, and you can guess why I went with that one. When people run to other people who come from Missouri or moved from Missouri, and they run to each other in a different state, someone might say, where do you go? I used to live in St. Louis. Oh, really? Yeah. How long did you live in Misery? Would be the joke. So, Misery.
There's a moon above the pines, but the sky is poisoned. There's a list of the forgiven, but baby, you're not on it. Jesus shot the bullet with your name upon it. Oh, misery. Oh, misery. It's so hard to watch one step when it's open season. So tough to think things through when there's no reason. Ask the man a question. It's a song of treason. Oh, misery. Oh, misery. Better keep your head down. Better keep your spirit quick. Better keep your dreams low. Get a bootstrap if you fall sick. In a state of mind. Wait till you get a load of mine. Oh, misery. Oh, misery.
Great job.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cornelius. Thank you, Charlie.
Yes. Thank Charlie
Thank
and
you,
Lisa.
Lisa.
Yes.
Thank you, Lisa, out there. It's been an incredible night. I really appreciate you being here. If we could have the students turn on their cameras again, I want to give you one last round of applause for the night and thank you for your
Exactly.
work. Thank you for
Thank
your
you.
words.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting us. I really enjoyed it. We really enjoyed being invited. Thank you. Meant a lot. I hope you enjoyed it.
We enjoyed it immensely. It's terrific. Such powerful work. Such very powerful work. Thanks to all. I hope Elkin and Danuve and Jacob and I hope that you continue to carry poetry and song with you. You know, this poetry stuff has a very practical value too. It gives sustenance in tough times. You know, like for example, a pandemic. If you should come across one, and it really does sustain and. You know, and you can follow it. back into the light. So wonderful evening. We'll look forward to seeing you out in the real world, and again next year. Let's all come together.
The 15th annual, John. The 15th annual.
Big, yeah, big.
Yeah.
Half a hundred, as my father said when he turned 50.
Next year is a big year, John. So let's make it happen again.
Okay.
Thank you,
Let's do it.
everybody. Muchas
Bye-bye.
gracias.
15th.
Muchas gracias.